Thanks to L.L.Bean for presenting today's storybook with limited commercial interruption.
How was your morning?
All my life, changing every day, in every possible way. In every possible way.
I recognize farming as a way in which we could take products that we grow, that we touch, that we eat, and use them to talk about larger environmental issues. It just seemed like a great conversation point, both because eating is so sensual, and who doesn't like being at a table and talking with their friends and neighbors about why we're here and what we're doing. I'm Beth Schiller, and I am the owner of Dandelion Spring Farm. I've been farming in Maine for about 20 years. I've been on this property for just 3.5 years. This is unceded Wabanaki territory and Wabanaki land, and I feel incredibly gifted to be able to take care of this land right now. This land was last farmed commercially in 1940. It was an apple orchard called Apple Core Farm. One reason why this property was attractive to me is that it has extremely good soil. And Maine Farmland Trust has an easement on this property, so it will now be forever agricultural land. And so I have been in the process of taking it back from all of the invasive species that have decided to make it its home. So you're witnessing a farmer and snippets of a business that is both very well established, but is also in many ways very new. So some of these are greens that are different varieties that we cut for lettuce mix. These here are some examples of some French iceberg lettuces. And one reason why we like them is that they just have a really sweet flavor, unlike iceberg that you might have grown up with in a cellophane wrapper. They often think of like large, very cellular heads that are very dense, but generally without flavor. They're a carrier for dressing. Whereas these guys, I feel like, are iceberg that have a lot of flavor. And they also hold up well, so chefs who prefer the kind of fine serrated nature of their leaves like them because they can put them on a dish that might be a little bit warm and they'll still hold their shape. So they taste good, they look good. I grew up in Reedfield, which is about 30 minutes as a crow flies that way. In the era of recycling coming to Maine and I think some early awareness of environmental issues. When I first started farming and as an adult, I decided that I was only going to eat food that was seasonal. And for me, that also meant putting some food away. Because at the time, I had learned to eat tomatoes year round. So canning tomatoes or freezing tomatoes is an art and a science that's not that hard. It's something that anyone can do if you have an oven and a pan and a plastic bag or a glass jar. As a farmer, I'm continually thinking about the styles of how I farm. And if you were to come and do a video here next year, you would see a bunch of permanent beds. So we're going to be shifting our styles to a method that will be more intensive in terms of taking care of the soil, less intensive in terms of tractor and other equipment use. When I first started farming in Maine, there were not many people like me. I would often go to conferences and I would be the only woman at the conference. I didn't have any production farming female role models. Now that has totally changed. The number of farms has been increasing, and it's often been small farms that are really diverse. And so in the nation, Maine and New England rank the highest in the number of new farms that are run by women. And yeah, this year we are a team of women identified farmers, and they're awesome. I think one thing that we've really tried to cultivate at Dandelion Spring is a team where everybody has their own unique leadership role. We don't need fancy job titles. Everybody is equal in their knowledge, even though all of their knowledge is very different. And the way in which they support each other and the way in which they've communicated together throughout the season is just like a beautiful dance to watch. We always like to encourage people to grow their own food. We think that's always like the best tasting food. So a lettuce like this, we sell the seedlings for periodically throughout the season. These are all varieties that we tend to just cut the whole thing and sell it as a single unit. But either way could happen. So I feel really, really lucky that as a community in Maine, we have continued to be inspired by local food, and organizations like MOFGA and Maine Farmland Trust have been really good about making sure that there are a lot of resources to our community to make sure that people have easy access to food. The Maine Harvest Buck program has been doubling SNAP dollars, so if people come to the farmers market, they can get double the amount of food that they might otherwise. Dandelion Spring was selling 60% to restaurants prior to COVID-19, so that created a rapid shift, both to a certain extent in what we were growing and how we were also marketing it. We love and support our restaurants and also know that they were at a time where buying a lot of local greens, and particularly more of the kind of smaller, high-end products that we like to specialize in, didn't fit where they were last year and at the start of this year. I have the gift of going into the back doors of so many kitchens in Portland. It energizes me every time. As someone who is an introvert, it is like phenomenally exciting and charging in a way I never would have predicted, to be able to walk into the back door of a kitchen and converse with a unique chef with a unique personality, a unique palate, with the food that we have. For the farm team, who primarily spends their time here, it is really exciting for them to be able to see the snippets of our food in our community and how the food stands out individually for all of the different chefs and people that we work with. Josh! Working with chefs is like working with an artist. So for example, Chef Josh and I like to talk about arugula. And so those individual relationships are really fun. As a farmer, I have some skill and I have a lot of luck, but it's the relationships we make with our community that really inspire me to get out there. They make me want to come home and grow more.
I was a child that grew up with food insecurities, and I know how important it is. It's the root of all the issues that children face.
Here at Portland Public Schools, we have a wonderful opportunity to work with Native Maine. We like to focus on those local foods that we can offer to the students, proteins as well as the fresh fruit and vegetables. Encouraging your students to participate in school lunch helps us to reduce that stigma, and for those kids that really do need those meals.
Hi, and welcome back to Plate the State. We are in Kennebunk at the Hancock Lumber Kitchen Design Showroom, and we are so grateful that we get to cook in this beautiful space. And we hope that you enjoyed meeting Beth at Dandelion Spring Farm as much as we love going there. It is such a magical place. And now Chef Josh is going to take some of those beautiful late summer flavors and teach us how to preserve them to use all year long. And now we can't talk preserving without talking pickles.
We're going to be pickling. Yep. I think we're going to do some refrigerator pickles. It's a lot easier to do that. It's less intimidating by sanitizing the jars and everything. And I know Mom wants to come on and show us that one, so we'll wait for her to get
More
here.
to come.
Yep. Now, I know you like sweets, so we're going to do some bread and butter pickles for you with some of Beth's great cucumbers. And I'm going to do sour pickles with some great cauliflower that I found at the farmer's market. I'm going to go over the ingredients for yours.
Okay.
We're going to start with brown sugar because I know you like the sweet, so go ahead
Do you
and
want me to
put
put
that
this in here?
Yep,
Okay.
put it
Brown
right
sugar.
in. Yep. And then normal bread and butter pickles that we've always had that you love, you'd have mustard seed, some allspice berries, and some turmeric. Okay? But what I've done is I've added some star anise, coriander seeds, some broken up cinnamon stick, and then we toasted the turmeric to give it a nice flavor.
So fancy. Oh,
yeah.
So could I call these bread and bougie pickles?
I knew you were going to say that. Go ahead, in the pot. For the sour pickles, I have fennel seed, dill seed, some dried chili, and some of the chili seeds in there too, because I like mine a little bit spicier, okay? I have a little bit of normal white sugar, not so much the brown sugar. We each have a little bit of salt.
Okay.
So go ahead and pour, this is just kosher salt. Go ahead and add your toasted turmeric.
I love these colors too. Oh, they match my sweater.
Because I'm making dill, I'm gonna add some of Beth's dill into this, some great dill. And then I'm gonna have a little bit of garlic in mine. So for the Bread and Bougie Pickles, we're gonna add some apple cider vinegar.
Which is also very healthy.
And then for the dill pickles, we're gonna add just a little bit of white distilled vinegar. Okay?
You can see already the color differences are pretty.
Yeah, right? So let's add around 2 cups of water.
Okay.
Just gonna add this in. If we didn't add the water, the brine would be so spicy. What we're gonna do is we're gonna bring these over onto the stovetop and we're gonna bring them to a rapid boil for about 5 minutes. Okay, perfect. And I love the dueling pickle part that we're having going over here. Let's go talk about our veggies. So we're gonna start with the cauliflower. We broke those off into these nice little florets and it's perfect for that. They break naturally, right? We want that in there so they'll fit in our jar.
No crumbs.
No crumbs. And then with the pickles, we have these nice thick slices right here. I like thick pickle slices instead of too many thin ones.
And you like cutting them in different shapes,
all
right?
different shapes, yeah. It adds a little different fun magic. What we've done with both of these is we've salted them for about 10 minutes. That helps with osmosis, pulls some of the water out, and then we just rinse them off, okay? So once you pack a few more in there, we don't want them too full because we want a lot of our ingredients to get all the way into the bottom.
And don't forget, all these recipes can be found on platethestate.com.
Okay, perfect. Now that we've let our brines cool for a little bit, I'm gonna go grab them, we're gonna put them in our jars.
And now the fun begins.
Okay, so for this spot, we wanna be a little bit cautious because it's still warm, okay? And what we're gonna do is we're just gonna take our pickle jars. You can use a ladle, a spoon. I'm using a spoon because I wanna get all the little ingredients and kind of point them where they're gonna go. You can see that really nice brine that goes in there. So the next one, again, I'm gonna add some of like that dill in there.
What are some other vegetables that people could do this with?
So besides the cucumbers, which are, I'd say, your classic, I like using any firm vegetable. So one of my favorites is bread and butter pickled fennel. Also, all different colors of carrots. I would say experiment and have fun with whatever you're gonna be doing and try out different ones. So now let's put our tops on.
Okay.
All right.
I love these cork tops.
Yep. We're gonna put these in the fridge.
Okay. How long do these go in there for?
They can sit in the fridge probably for about a couple months. They'll be fine as long as they stay refrigerated. Every once in a while you wanna rotate them to get a little bit of the ingredients, like cycling all the way
And most
through.
importantly, when can we eat them?
Well, funny you mentioned that, Maggie. I do have some that I've already made. Yay. So that's your Bread and Bougie
These have
Pickles.
been sitting in the fridge for a month and I've not been allowed to touch them until right now.
Yep.
Ooh, these are really beautiful.
Right? Let's give them a taste.
Oh goodness. Cheers. Ooh. Mmm. You have not seen the end of these pickles during the leftover segment. At the end of the show, Josh is going to show us how we can keep using them. Thanks for following us on Instagram at Plate the State, and we will be back in a few minutes.
At Brown Trading Company, we source only the highest quality seafood, caviar, and gourmet foods for you in America's best restaurants. In our pursuit of perfection, we support sustainable fisheries in Maine and around the world. Extraordinary selection and highest quality are the hallmarks of what you will find here. Entertain your guests with a selection from our curated wine list and fresh cheeses cut to order. Whether you shop online or visit us in Portland, freshness is paramount and great care is taken to ensure your satisfaction.
Hi, welcome to today's chef tip. I'm going to show you what to do with all those vegetable scraps that you have throughout prepping your meals throughout the week. And instead of going in the compost, we're going to make a great, delicious vinaigrette with them. So I have some of those vegetable scraps right here. These have been cooking for about 2 hours, just on a very low heat. As you can see, I have some leek scraps in there, a little bit of carrot tops, some pepper tops in there, some scallion bottoms. Anything that you have, we don't want anything rotting in there. We don't want anything that's like mushy. These are fresh vegetable scraps. And all I've added in is a little canola oil, just enough to cover. Put them on a very low heat and let them go for about 2 hours until the bubbles that come up stop. Now those bubbles are the water escaping the vegetables. So what we're doing is we're really just preserving all these vegetables in that oil. So we have our blender. I'll take the top off. Okay. And I'm just using a slotted spatula. Anything, we don't want a lot of the oil. The vegetables are now saturated with that oil. So we just want just the vegetables in there, and that's gonna have enough of the oil to make our vinaigrette. Another great part of this recipe is that you can use the oil multiple times. So I'm just gonna take and reserve our oil, and as you can tell, it's been infused with all of those different vegetables and chilies and everything we put in there. Pop this in the refrigerator, and it's good for up to about 3 months. Now we're gonna take this up. As you can tell, we just have the vegetables in there right now, okay? I'm gonna give it a quick blend just to get it going. Now we're gonna add a little bit of vinegar. Now the vinegar that you wanna add can be anything. It can be champagne vinegar, balsamic vinegar, you could use lemon juice, any real acid, okay? I'm gonna add a little bit of salt and a couple cracks of pepper. Now we wanna blend on high until it's emulsified. So as you can tell, this one we had a lot of leek scraps and onion trim in there, so it's gonna have this a little bit golden yellow color. I made some originally a couple days ago, and I had a lot of carrot trim, so you can tell how beautiful orange color this is, right? I'm gonna put it on this plate so you can see just a little bit of the viscosity. It's like a great emulsion out of that, right? And how beautiful the peppers gave it. Now, since Maggie likes creamy dressing, what you can do is add just a little bit of yogurt, sour cream, buttermilk. And if you stir that up in there, you'll have a great alternate dressing. You can tell the difference, right? Thanks for watching today's chef tip. You can find this recipe and all of ours at platethestate.com. Thanks so much.
We're getting there to sunnier days, being with the ones we love, and now with those you've missed. This is you remastering the art of life. And while you're getting back at it, we'll be here to help you master the art of money. Norway Savings. Live your life in color.
This week's pantry tip is brought to you by Norway Savings Bank.
Hi, and welcome to today's preserving pantry tip. I'm going to show you a really quick and easy way to take all of your beautiful garden herbs from the summer and dry them so you can use them all year long. So cut down all your favorite herbs. When you have them in bunches, you're going to get some butcher's twine. Take about an arm's length, and then you are going to tie them so they end up looking like this. And I'm going to show you what not to use. Okay. I'm going to come around. We want to make sure we have enough to keep hanging, so make sure you leave some, and then we're going to go around once. Make sure you go around twice, because they are going to shrink a little bit, and that's going to make sure they're not going to be falling all over the place. Now, when you're drying the herbs, you want to hang them in a sunny window. There's sun-dried herbs, right? So take a curtain rod, hang it in a sunny window, and then you're going to hang them. We're going to show you in a sec how that's going to look when they're done. Hang them. It takes about 4 weeks. So how you know when they're done is they're going to have this like nice brittle texture to them. So you can either crumble them in a bowl and put them in a sweet little jar, or you can just keep hanging them. They look so beautiful. And the great thing about drying your own herbs is that you really maintain potency. They have those great essential oils in the herbs. So unlike buying them in a store, you don't always know how long they've been there. So this really ensures that you're going to have really potent flavor. How you don't want them to look, here's some parsley that it was really moist in the air and they weren't getting enough sun. So if they look like this, compost time. And I'm going to show you a really cute way to hang them in your own home, or it makes a really beautiful gift. Josh found this birch branch and thought it would make a really beautiful herb hanging. And it makes the house smell so good. These are herbs that we got from Dandelion Springs Farm from Beth. And now he's doing the basil, which smells so divine. So now you have a really cute and clever way to be hanging your herbs at home, and you can find all of our tips at platethestate.com.
I've been coming here for about 10 years.
The best part of harbor fish is you smell the seafood, you hear the ice in the background. I love the fact that they're always ready to just make you the #1 priority.
My personal preference this evening would probably be the swordfish is what I would focus on.
They can walk me through exactly what I'm looking for what recipe. When I was a chef, I could always trust that this is the best quality seafood for my guests, but I love the fact that this is where I shop for my fish for home too. It was the best part of both worlds. I come in here, I see chef friends, I see family friends, but I can trust that not only will the fishmongers here and the cutters and everybody working the counter will help me make the right choices and help me cook this fish the best way it can be. Hi, welcome back to Hancock Lumber's Design Studio Kitchen here in Kennebunk. We're going to be making one of my favorite sausage recipes. Now this sausage is called andouille, okay? And it's made with these great Calabrian chilies. Now these chilies are gonna give this sausage a very spicy kick. So if you're not a fan of spice, that's okay. We can still dial it back a little bit, but since I love spice and my son does, we're gonna really turn it on. What I have over here is some nice smoky bacon, okay? Some pepperoni, some pancetta, and then some Calabrian salami. Kind of another word for just spicy salami. What I did is I put that in the oven around 150, 200 degrees, leave it in there for just a little bit. We just want it warm. We don't really want it super like crispy, crunchy. We just want some of that fat rendered out because that fat and some of the Calabrian chili oil, that's what's gonna really make our sausage. What I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna take all of this and the fat and put it into our food processor. Now I'm gonna add some of our chilies. I like adding the stems and the seeds in. If you don't and you like them a little bit less spicy, you can just pinch off these and then pinch the seeds out, okay? But I like putting them all in there. So we're gonna add some chilies and then probably a few tablespoons of the actual Calabrian chili oil. We're gonna fit this on top. And then we're gonna... Okay, so it's been 5 minutes. We've had that blending. You can see how creamy and how that fat has really emulsified in with all the sausage. So once your sausage is all blended up, and I just did one the other day, you can pack it into any little jars or tins. I have this nice little cassoulet pan. Once you put that in there, cap it off with a thin layer of some of the reserved fat, or you can use bacon fat if you have some left over, a little bit of bacon grease on there, or extra virgin olive oil will also give you that nice solid finish. Once it's done, as long as the fat's on it, it'll stay in the fridge almost indefinitely as a preserve. So let's dig in to see what we have here. Yeah, you can see how smooth that got. And this is only after about 2 days that chilies have helped really bloom the color into that, and we have a really nice sausage. Now, one of my favorite uses for this sausage, I like adding this into some pasta. We have a little bit of pasta, some cream, garlic, and some of our preserved mint, some of our dried mint. Take that spoon of andouille, put it right in there. And I love how this andouille just melts right into our sauce. This is one of those weekend meals that you can make like anytime. Add a little bit of chickpeas. Finish this with a little bit of salt. And that heat from the andouille is really gonna play off all the pasta and the cream sauce really well. A little bit of cracked pepper in this. So for this recipe and all of our recipes, follow us at platethestate.com and on Instagram at platethestate. I'm gonna eat this and we'll be back in a few minutes.
At Town&Country Federal Credit Union, our mobile app lets you do almost anything from anywhere. Deposit checks, pay bills, move money, and much more. And if you need us, we're always here to help. Learn more at tcfcu.com.
Today's leftover ideas are brought to you by Town&Country Federal Credit Union, helping you stretch your food dollars.
Hi, and welcome to today's leftover idea segment. And I always get really excited when I have a bowl of bread sitting right in front of me.
Well, with all of our pickles and the andouille and everything we've made, these are just some ideas because pickles go great with anything. But I wanted to make you, because you love the bread and butters, the real bread and butter sandwich. So this sandwich was kind of developed Depression era, bread, some really good butter, and some pickles on it. It would fill you up, it would be wholesome. I like using the Rosemont sourdough bread. It has a great fermentation process, over 24 hours. It's a really artisanal way of making bread. And I think it's the flavor really comes through, especially with
traditional sour flavor that you expect.
Over here we made some little canapes. So we took some of the baguette. I just spread a little bit of that andouille on there, some of the pickled cauliflower and some figs, a little oil. It's great to have that andouille on hand all the time for guests when they pop over, or a quick little canape or hors d'oeuvre. It's always really
amazing.
Fun.
And we have pairings that we picked to go with these pickles. Ooh, there's lots of peas there. Okay, let's grab our pairings. All right, so our friends at Rosemont recommended this wine to go with these beautiful canapes. And this is a really cool wine from Italy. It's certified organic, and it's cool because it's a mix of red and white grapes. So you can serve it a little bit chilled, and it helps complement the spiciness and the richness of this. And then, you know, having it a little bit cool helps, you know, take down the spiciness if you don't love spice.
And as far as pickles go, I love any IPA, double IPA. Austin Street makes a great one, this Offset. I like it because pickles and beer are almost a perfect match. The brininess of the pickle brine, whether it be the bread and butters or a dill pickle, and then you have that IPA that has its own kind of flavors. And when you eat them both together, it's a great, you know, kind of comparison and foiling in your mouth. I think it's a really cool idea.
I love this. And it is lunchtime, so we're really excited. And thank you so much for showing us what to do with these leftovers. And thank you so much for joining us on this episode of Plate the State. And thank you to Hancock Lumber for letting us use their beautiful kitchen down in Kennebunk. And thank you for following us on Instagram and along at platethestate.com. And here is to wherever your appetite takes you. And we'll see you next week.
Hello, sunshine, won't you come in? It's been so long since I've seen that smile. Oh, and I'd be grateful if you would walk.
If you pickle any at home and decide to share them with us, if you make any pickles at home and it's a great recipe, forget it. Sorry, I'll be right back.
We are in Kennebunk at the Hancock Lunger. The Lunger.